Okay, okay, sir, அப்படினா sir. என்னப்பா இப்போவே 40 பேர் வந்துட்டாங்கடா புவன். Sir, good morning, sir. Prakasham, sir, can we start the evening?
Yeah, good morning, madam. We can start.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Good morning to all the participants. I welcome you for this national level technical Good morning to all. I welcome everyone, all the participants from various colleges as well as from our university for this online workshop, online webinar. Our guest is Dr. Siva Prakasam and Dr. Shashikant Gargar. I just hand over the session to the convener. Kindly proceed further. I call upon Dr. Lakshmibai ma'am, HOD, Department of EAE, to welcome the expert speakers.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Good morning to everyone. It's give me great pleasure to introduce our esteemed guest, Dr. C. Sivaprakasam, Professor, Department of Civil Engineering and Director IQAC, Kalasalingam Academy of Research and Education, Krishnan Kovil, who is a renowned educator with 25 years of experience in the field of education. He completed his BE Honours in Civil Engineering during 1995 at IIT Roorkee. In 1996, MTech Water Resources at IIT Delhi and PhD Water Resources in the year 2003 at NUS Singapore. He published more than 70 papers in ACI and reputed journals, book publications, done projects for DST, CSIR, and KRE, UTP joint research projects, and he filed more patents. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. C. Sivaprakasam. We are truly honored to have you with us today. Welcome, sir.
Thank
Our
you, madam.
next speaker, yes, sir. Our next speaker, Dr. Sashikant Durga, Associate Professor ECE and Deputy Director IQAC, working in Kalasalingam Academy of Research and Education, India, since 2021. He has been postdoctoral research staff for 3 years in Durban, South Africa. He received doctoral degree in microelectronics and VLSI design, masters in digital communication, and BE in electronics and communication engineering. He authored over 75 research articles in referred journals, international conferences, and book chapters. He has 18 years of experience in academic and engineering research. He is currently guiding 2 overseas postdoctoral research at University of South Florida and 2 PhDs in India. He is a senior member of IEEE Electron Device Society, Fellow of IETE, Professional Member of IEEE HKN Honor Society, Eta Kappa NU, Member of Institution of Engineers India, and Life Member of ISTE and SIRG. He received Teaching Learning Award in 2024 by IUCEE, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan Best Teacher Award 2021 in VLSI Design by CPACE, and Best Researcher Award under 40 years in Overseas category by IARE Awards 2020 and 2022. With this introduction, I welcome Dr. Sashikant Durga. Welcome, sir. Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan Best Teacher Award. I will warmly welcome our SCSVMB faculty and staff members participating from various institutions. Under 40 years in the extend this opportunity to learn from our experts and appreciate your presence and dedication to ongoing learning and professional development. Welcome. The purpose of today's session is to dwell into the topic of effective teaching and learning strategies, which are crucial for our continuous growth and development as educators. This opportunity, as we all know, from staying updated with the latest trends and methodologies in education is essential for providing high quality learning experiences to our students. The topic of effective teaching, I kindly request our experts to share their expertise, insight, growth, and best practices on effective teaching and learning with our students. Your valuable knowledge and experiences undoubtedly enrich our professional journey. For providing my special thanks to experts Unterheim for graciously accepting our invitation and for your commitment to enhance our education. We look forward to an enlightening and productive session. Without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. C. Sivaprakasam and Dr. Sashikant Durga to share their insights with us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. I'll share my screen. So I logged from another computer also. 1 second. So a warm welcome to one and all present here. So first of all, I thank Dr. Janani and her team and Dr. Lakshmi Bai for giving us chance. So this presentation, myself and my colleague, we are sharing together, and I will take first 20 minutes or so, and I'll give a bird's eye view of the whole thing, and then Dr. Shashikant will take over from there, and he will give some hands-on training and demo on 3 or 4 ICT based tools that he has been using very frequently in his own teaching learning environment. So having said this, I'd like to start the presentation. So I'm going to focus more on the ICT's advent and the how do we, what are some of its limitations or challenges, and how do we go about for a particular class teacher or course teacher, how does he go about designing and or developing a ICT mechanism for effective teaching. So that's all I want to focus on. Of course, a lot of the content of this presentation comes from my experience, and most of you also have equally or even more experience than what I have, because during the COVID time, almost each one of us has been exposed to use the online tools and ICT tools extensively. So as of now, it is not a new thing. Everybody knows about it, but there are certain important things, I'll say. They are not new things, but they are important things, which when taken into account can make the ICT experience a very meaningful and fruitful experience for teachers and the students. So, and some of you may not agree with certain ideas I present in this presentation, so that's not a problem. It's my experience. Your experience may be quite different from what I have. So it's just a sharing of the experience. You don't need to take anything on a personal level that way. So I just want to make that comment before I start. So now this advent of ICT, it started long before, somewhere around 1965, 70s. And since then, the last 30, 40 years, there is a lot of inventions and applications of ICT. ICT in education, it's commonly called as educational technology. That's how it is commonly called as. It's called as education technology. And universities were the first to adopt this ICT in their teaching and research. And as of now, in the current practice, almost everybody is using ICT in some way or other. Even in schools and colleges, everywhere it is being used, and everybody is familiar with that in that sense. So still, I'll just take you through some of the aspects of ICT when it comes to higher education. So the most earliest type of application is of ICTs in terms of offering computer-aided instructions. So it was the case when I was studying in my undergraduation, post-graduation. That time computer was very new, and we used computers only for certain analysis of data and certain simple applications. Even that is called as one kind of ICT, and it comes under the category of computer-aided instructions. Even now it is used, but that time it was just beginning. It was in the inception. So certain software tools like computer design, CAD, and other things, they come under this category. The other one is the online learning, which became more popular towards 2010, 12, 15, something like that. And of course, this has been extensively used during the COVID time. And there are many universities which offer now whole program based on online courses. And there are universities even abroad who have exchange programs, even postdoctoral fellow programs, partly done within India, partly done through online when they are staying inside, and then remaining portion they go to the respective university and complete it. And there are other MOOC courses, like we have NPTEL, Coursera, and things like that. And one interesting thing about this online courses and its development is after NEP 2020 came into picture. Of course, this is my understanding and projection. I may not be fully correct, but it is something which is an intuition for me for quite some time strongly. That government has introduced what we call as ABC, Academic Bank of Credits. And most of you may be aware of that, this idea of ABC, Academic Bank of Credits. This one, the student can earn credits from, they may register in one parent institution, but they can earn credits from any institution they want. They are not restricted by one institution for earning the degree. So going forward, maybe another 8 years, 10 years time, it may so happen that faculty who are very good in their topics and their subjects and their concepts and fundamentals, they may be very well known, and students may be looking for them no matter where they are situated, which college they are teaching. So my generation is different. I already crossed 50 years age, so my generation is different, but there are many young faculty members. And in your generation, when you another 10 years, 12 years time, I'm hoping that this kind of things will start happening. So your preparation as a faculty, in your subjects and all is quite essential to meet that requirement. So students may prefer not the institution but the faculty. So right now the trend is students prefer institution rankings are there, but trend may change. That is one prediction. Another application of ICT in the teaching environment is in terms of what we call as learning management system, LMS. So there are many freely available LMS like Moodle, Google Classroom, Canvas, and things like that. And there are many institutions, I'm sure all of you in your own institutions also will be using customized LMS for taking care of all the needs of students, all the entire academic needs of students in a comprehensive way. Taking into account their classes, the courses, their attendance details, and all other details, everything coming under one platform. So this is also part of ICT application in teaching learning. There are some faculty members who design their own customized LMS only for their own course, a single course, where they have certain platforms for interaction with the students and things like that. That also part of LMS only. And there are other developments in ICT, that is in terms of digital content preparation. So this has also become very common now, that right now, for example, I am giving this presentation, and we can always do a screen recording of this, and it can be used as a material which can be viewed again, heard again for or it can be used for helping somebody else and things like that. And there are many animations, videos, articles which are all available online as a repository, and it's all because of the inventions in ICT. So this is also one of the applications of ICT. And more recently, from 2020 onwards, mostly mobile learning has become becoming more common now among students. There are many courses. For example, I teach mostly fluid mechanics in civil engineering. For the last 20 plus years, 23 years, I've been teaching this course. And there is one, you can say, it's not exactly fully free, but the student version is there. We call it a fluid mechanics interaction. Interactive, I don't know exact this thing anyway. So this app, it has all kinds of provisions within it for taking a student or a learner gradually forward in understanding the concepts of this course on fluid mechanics. So they can install this particular app in their mobile phone itself, and they can do it. It acts like a virtual assistant for their teaching learning. It acts like a virtual assistant for their teaching learning instead of a teacher. And there are a customized way and a guided way how to do this. They can also view their own performance, their progress, and things like that. So this is also another advancement in the ICT field. Adaptive learning is also another very important one, which is becoming very common and popular now. And there are many organizations which are into this. Some of them are free also. For example, McGraw Hill Education and K Newton, Pearson. They're all institutions which are into adaptive learning in the sense that this adaptive learning, what it does, let's say somebody is teaching a course on Python programming. That course is designed, and the whole entire course material, the course, the way the student will progress as he goes through that online course, it is designed for different level of students. So there is a pre-assessment done, and then the whole environment of adaptive learning takes the student into see, let us say the student is a slow learner, so they may take the first level Python programming course on that, and through that they'll go further. And let's say they cover that the first level little rapidly, the system will adjust themselves, and it will put the next level course to them automatically. So this is all adaptive learning. There are some other software companies like Infosys and things like that. They also have their own education departments, and their education departments, they design for their own trainees, as well as for, they are now mentoring many other institutions outside as educational mentors. They design certain platforms where this kind of adaptive learning takes place very interestingly. So that is another application of this ICT. Then there are social networks and forums which have become more common now, where students and the faculty can have a lot of interactions as they learn, and the question can be posted, and and they can get answers from people situated in different parts of the globe to clarify what they want. Even for research, it is being done. Some people, even they post the research, their own PhD research problem statement to get an idea about how should they proceed when they are completely clueless about what to do. So, and many times it so happens that some kind and compassionate fellow somewhere in some institution, they are able to guide and give some insight into how to proceed. And there are many other forums like that, and which is a part of social networking. This is also one of the components of ICT, you can say, in the teaching learning side. And more recently, and augmented reality and virtual reality, these two have come into picture, and most of you may know the difference. Augmented reality has to do with superimposing certain additional details like some audios, videos, texts on the real world experience. So for example, the first photo you see there, so first photo you can see here, there is a field. I took a photo from civil. There is a field here, and using this AR, they are superimposing a framed structure there. So how it will look like when the actual structure comes can be visualized beforehand. So that is a part of augmented reality experience. This is also part of ICT. And virtual reality is very different. Here, it's called an immersive experience. Immersive experience means you become the part of the whole system. So there is a particular camera for that, like this man is wearing it here, and he is into a pipe network system, a wastewater treatment plant. Inside that he's standing. Actually, he's not standing there. He's sitting in his room, but his experience is as if he's standing inside that and viewing things and doing something. So that is about virtual reality. So these things also now becoming more common in our own country. And of course, there are many assessment tools which are based on ICT. Many have come. I have used quiz.com, and I didn't use Kahoot so much, but my colleague will show you some detailed demonstration and the features of all those interesting teaching and assessment tools. His focus is on teaching and assessment tools because that's what most of the faculty use as far as ICT application is concerned. So, yeah. So these tools, they give lot of details about the result analysis and how the student perform, what they should do next. One can even do proctored examination for the students and things like that. It's a very great help to the teachers to use this kind of assessment tools to get to know very quickly some information about how the students are processing, students are processing as the class is going on. As the class is going on, there are certain apps and all where they can ask questions on the spot, and the analysis also comes on the spot about how the students are processing and how they are thinking, so that the teacher can dynamically adjust his class delivery. So these are some of the different aspects of ICT application in teaching learning side. So many of you must be definitely knowing about this. And my experience in dealing with many faculty over the years, as far as ICT is concerned, is there was not much clarity on what kind of ICT comes in where. So they know there are many ICT things. So I thought I'll just classify its application at different categories. So that's what I did now here. Now, having said all these advantages of ICT, I want to make one particular emphasis here, that this ICT itself is not good enough for a good learning or an effective learning. It is like a tool, just like a calculator. It's just like a calculator, it's like a tool. So who can use a calculator best? Someone who knows, the problem that he is solving, and suppose I have to do a multiplication of 2 into 5. I have to know first I have to do this 2 into 5 to get something. So who will decide whether I have to do 2 into 5 or 2 divided by 5? So that is the expertise of the teacher. So this is only an aid to support the teacher. There are many young faculty members who are confused that teaching learning can take place effectively simply by using ICT tools. I don't agree with it fully. Because there are many drawbacks or challenges associated with that. Some of them I put it here. For example, even if you introduce a student to go through certain online courses or online even topics, or even online YouTubes which are available for different topics when they find it something difficult, there are n number of YouTubes available or n number of courses available for a single course. And which one a student will select? And surprisingly, as far as engineering curriculums are concerned, we use many symbols and notations and all. And those symbols and notations, they vary textbook to textbook. They're not same. So, and it creates a lot of confusion for the students. And the different authors or different speakers or different teachers, they approach a particular topic, they introduce a particular topic differently. It is their own flavor, it's their own individual flavor. A young student who is first beginning his course or trying to understand a new topic without any prior experience upon at least some fundamentals of that particular topic, he'll definitely find it difficult. So there are many issues like this as far as use of ICT tools are concerned, and that is also being debated. There are many journals which are dedicated to teaching, learning and education related journals are there, where application of ICT, its difficulties, challenges are taken up, addressed, and new ideas and things are proposed. So these are all different ways by which we can understand that it is just a tool which has to be used properly by the course teacher who is using it. And here is one interesting thing, these two figures about equality and equity. Because generally what we tend to do is we use one ICT tool for the entire class, for example. That is not actually a good method of doing, because different students' needs are different. So, and one particular tool or one particular approach may not actually reach every student. Let's say I use quiz.com for undertaking quiz. I have seen in my own class, the last batch I took was having only 25 students. Out of 25 students, I'll come back to that case study very shortly. The students, when I looked at their quiz performance as a pre-assessment first, except 5 or 6 students, everybody did very pathetically. So ICT has given me some idea about where they stand, but what do I do about it more? So it depends upon the teacher's experience, the dedication, how sincere the teacher is, and then the ICT comes as an aid, so that we make an equity type of approach, not a equality type of approach, where we see whose needs are what, and then accordingly try to address that particular need. So that's the idea behind this one. Now I'll take one small case study on my own subject, course which I had taken for many years. Initially, when I started this course, it was a completely chalk and talk method for quite many years. I started teaching this course first time in 2002, and since then, up to, you can say, 2015-16, it was more or less chalk and talk. To 16-17 and all, we started introducing certain ICT things. We used even lecture capturing system in our classrooms, and that was used for students to hear later on after the class also. Those were absent and they're not able to make it, they used to hear those lectures, things like that. So we started using certain ICT tools later on, digital projectors and things like that. Smart boards came into picture somewhere around 2019. So all those things we started using for teaching this course. And it was only an example which I'm taking, but all of you may be taking different courses. And this example can give you some idea about how do you design a teaching approach towards a whole course which involves ICT as well. So I'm just giving an example here. Okay. So the last batch which I taught very recently, we had only 25 students. The civil has less strength these days. So we had very less number of students. We had only 25 students in the class. Out of that, only 5 students were fast learners and 20 of them were slow learners. This was a very typical batch which I got in the last 22-23 years of my teaching. I never got a batch like this, where the number of slow learners were extremely high in number compared to those who are fast learners or even average learners. The slow learners were so slow that you'll be surprised that many of them did not know how to calculate even an area of a rectangle or a triangle. To that degree, they were slow. And fluid mechanics is one of the toughest courses in civil engineering curriculum, and I had a difficult time. In fact, I did not realize this when I started the course. I realized it after I did the pre-assessment test, first pre-assessment test for them, after about a 15-20 days of time. And then I had to change my entire strategy of teaching. Many things I have to change. Dynamically, I have to change. So that's how it works. It works in a very different way. We cannot take a course, have some old lecture notes which we prepared some 10-15 years before, and go to the classroom and teach the students something and expect that they'll start learning just because I use some ICT tools. That is not the right way to teach. We have to change that way of teaching, because how many students actually benefit, actually catch, it is up to them. Okay, but as a teacher, if you become more sincere, committed, and if you become more expert, not only in teaching the subject but also how to present it, your demand will increase in time. That is my personal experience also. Even few students who take a course with you, you will maybe offering MOOC courses. That is also become very common. Many faculties are now offering MOOC courses in many institutions. They are developing their own MOOC courses and offering it, and the needs are coming like this. Somebody may be very expert even within fluid mechanics. Let's say I am having expertise in fluid kinematics or dynamics, for example, and I'm able to explain the topic in a very lucid way which anybody can understand and take them forward from there. Naturally, it will attract a lot of attention, anybody who goes through it. I posted one YouTube on a particular topic on one of my course, not fluid mechanics, it's another course, and you can say it's a kind of advanced fluid mechanics, second part of the fluid mechanics, and that I posted in YouTube in 2019. Now 4-5 years have gone. More than 10,000 people have gone through it by now, and even including students from NITs and things like that, and they're given a very good comments about it. So these things have become very common now. So when you start doing something, you have to know how to use these things properly. Okay, so you may design the same course for a very slow learner. Somebody may design the same course for a medium learner. Somebody may design the same course for a very advanced learner. All of them may be talking about the same topic, but the design is very different, and the delivery of the course is also very different. You have to think in a different way going forward. The paradigm of thinking as a teacher has to change, and the ICT can come as a aid for you, as an assistant for you to do that. So what I did for this particular course was, this was the methodology I followed. The first thing I always recommend for myself and for all the faculty colleagues and youngers, those who are there, is that as a teacher, we should be first of all fundamentally very, very, very strong in our concepts. And I always encourage the students that that you first listen to what I speak in the class, and my lectures will be highly fundamental that any layman can understand. I'll go to that level of root level. Any layman can understand what I'm talking, even if they're not understood anything about engineering, even if they're not understood any course in first year, and let's say they come to second year and take the fluid mechanics course, they can still understand everything about it, because I start from a very fundamental level. So a teacher is expected to know the fundamental concepts in a depth, and to such a degree that he can present to a completely layman person. To that degree, you should be thorough in the concepts. That is the first exercise for a teacher. And then from there, what I did, the next thing was identifying the fast learners and slow learners through a pre-assessment quiz, which I used this tool, this ICT tool, quiz.com. This was the one I used it, and I found who are standing where. And then I designed a pedagogy of course delivery, the topic deliveries. And what I did, some topics I did it as a what you call as flipped classroom mode, flipped mode of teaching learning. That means they hear the topic beforehand and they come to the class for a discussion. And in some cases I saw, because we have we are university system, I don't know about affiliated colleges how much flexibility they have, but we are in university system, so we have some flexibilities. So certain topics, for example, this course on fluid mechanics, it has a lab component as well. So some of the lab components I prefer to cover in lab, and I didn't touch upon in the theory directly. So I have to plan my teaching, learning, the pedagogy, everything in such a way that the course is covered in a holistic way. There was no repetition. So that is another thing I did, including using the ICT for developing one virtual lab based lab view based virtual lab for one of the experiments. So that was an additional experiment which I introduced, for which we used a lab view based virtual experiment. And this lab view based virtual experiment which I designed, I published in a Scopus indexed education journal. There are education conference journals which are held for education related publications. So they are not the direct engineering research that you usually do. They are all related to pedagogy and use of ICT and things like that. Use of in terms of education, the method of delivery, assessment, all those things, curriculum design. There are journals and conferences which happen on that also, and some of them are even essay indexed. Web of Science, they are listed. So this was designed, and I used all those things, and then I designed certain assessment system for teaching the students and assessing their performance, and the lecture plan and things like that for this. And one of my approach in this pedagogy for this particular course was I went for an accelerated teaching. Accelerated teaching means I understood most of the students, more than 70% students in the class are slow learners. So what I did was I went a little fast. I covered the syllabus 1 month early, and the fast learners are able to pick up anyway, and the slow learners are not able to pick up anyway. So there was not loss or a gain specifically in that way. The last 1 month which I got, I used the ICT for engaging the fast learners in a different way and the slow learners in a different way. I have to use a different kind of ICT tools for them. I have to give them some small animations. I have to give them certain other things by which they can learn how to understand a particular topic. I also have to use a lot of chalk and talk for them, and even use the local language. Some of them are complete pure Tamil medium. They couldn't understand anything out of English that I speak. And even if I refer them online videos and all, they're not able to figure out anything out of that. So the last 1 month I used for this, all the ICT and other things put together. I gave them some flipped, recorded classrooms, recorded lectures. These recorded lectures were not recorded for them actually. I recorded them during the lockdown time for the online classes, and that I used to give them for their hearing and hear it and come for the class. So that way you will find it more easier when I repeat the same thing. So like that, we used ICT in different ways for teaching the students. So this is one example where I wanted to illustrate that for each course, you have to think First of all, concept should be excellently clear, excellently good for the teacher. Then you have to identify the student composition in your own particular class, and then you should design a pedagogy and the assessment methods, the lecture delivery, how you want to do, what you want to do, and then certain strategies. Another strategy I took was this. Also, I published a paper on this along with my colleague Dr. Shashikant, who is also present today. We call it as application to abstract. So what I did was, this course was a tough course, and what I found that the students in this generation, they are not able to understand if I directly talk about derivation. They feel sleepy and they lose the focus completely. So the fluid mechanics topics, I did not teach the derivation first. I taught the formula first and their meaning and their application. And from there, some interest was created in the students. They got interested in the topic. And the application also taught in a real-time problem. I developed one problem statement covering all the 5 units of the fluid mechanics course. And it was a problem which relates to real life. So they were interested, they could understand what it is. And then the fast learners, they came forward and they asked, sir, can you tell how this formula was derived? And we don't have much time because, students have these days not only a lot of distractions, lot of other engagements as well. They have to do so many other courses and so many other programs, co-curricular, extracurricular, this and that. And within a very short time that we have in the classroom, if the teacher doesn't plan things in advance, where they have to use what kind of pedagogy, which kind of ICT, or which kind of students, the effort will not be fully successful. That's the conclusion that I could come through all this experience. So I went through application first and then came to the derivation only for those students who wanted to learn derivation. I didn't teach derivation to all the students because even if I teach, they're not going to study anyway. But they were very happy that they understood some very important principles of their application, which they can apply in their life very easily. So they did actually well in the end semester exam. They did much well than what I expected. So this is one example of course design, including ICT and other things. Now I'll just come to the last part of my presentation and stop. So where is the ICT now going into the future? All of you know, you maybe already heard about it. They call it as generative artificial intelligence, which has come into in a very mega way. Now even students use ChatGPT and all is a part of that only. But one side its development is attracting people, on another side it is also creating a lot of concerns in the minds of educators and parents and things like that about its misuse. So today my discussion is not on its misuse, it's only on its use. So it can be used for generating different analogies, because that is another way of pedagogy where we use certain analogies to teach a particular concept for the students. It can be used, it can suggest you certain analogies which you find it difficult otherwise. So this also use of ICT. Or we can also create certain questions of various difficulty levels, and the students can also use that to find a summary of what they learnt, which they can remember for writing in the exam, for example. So I'll just show you one or two video things here, like this one. It is now typing here. It's a video. Generative fluid mechanics. I just wrote a general thing. It's not a specific thing. Assessment question involving piston, cylinder, and pumps and things like that. Okay, so this is just to generate a question, for example, and it generates a question. You give a question and then it starts generating. Okay, so Copilot is a integrated component within Microsoft, which uses ChatGPT as a background to do a similar job. And then you can also use to solve the question. The same question is generated. You ask them to solve it, it will solve it. Okay, just for learning. So students can also learn. They find it difficult how to solve certain things. But in the exam, you should give a question which actually tests them understanding. And then the other thing is third one I put here. Sorry. So it is solving the entire thing with all full details about what it is. And then a student can ask for example, to summarize a concept, that let's say explain the concept of buoyancy in, let us say, some 15 points, bullet points, what it is, and it is ready to do that job for you. It's also ICT. Now it will summarize, so a student can get to know some essential points that he can write. So these are all there. It's as advantage, but it has, as we discussed very briefly, it has disadvantage also. The actual experience of learning, if somebody uses only ICT, is not actually happening. The student actually should think what he understood. He should learn how to summarize himself. These are only to be aided tools, aids. It's not, they are not actual tools to be taken in that way. So otherwise the human brain will not work properly. So that is my personal experience. We should exercise its muscle to do the right thing, to remember some formulas and all. Now, how a teacher makes a student do it, it's the challenge, but that's all we have to go through to have effective teaching learning and to be an effective teacher. So that's all from my side. So I hand over the session. It's a joint session, and I took a particular portion of this, and the hands-on training and the demo will be handled by Dr. Shashikant, my colleague. Thank you very much.
The participants would like to ask any queries to his experts, Dr. Sivaprakasan. You can just unmute yourself and you can ask, or else we will move on to the second session. Any queries? I request the participants to turn on the video. Sir, we will take one group photo, sir.
Okay.
The participants, please turn on your video. Sir, can you stop sharing?
Yeah. Just log out of that screen.
The participants, please turn on your video. We will take one group photo. On the count of 3, we can take one group photo. 1, 2, 3. Say cheese. Yeah. Thank you, participants. Sivaprakasan sir, thank you, sir, for joining the session and shared a useful information. I hope the participants is clear. So we will move on to the second session. Dr. Shashikant Dargan is already ready with this live hands-on session. So I request all the participants to parallelly work with him to have some idea about this ICT tool. Thank you so much.
Shashikant, continue.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Sivaprakasan sir, and the organizer of this webinar. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it is audible, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling me and a brief introduction about me. I'll carry over on the topic which we proposed on harnessing